Have you ever asked yourself why you keep feeling like you're restarting your life? Because you don't have a motivation problem, you have a pattern. And the pattern is the problem, you see, because the pattern of your day is that you start, you feel energetic, you feel that you're ready to commit, and then suddenly you disappear, not physically, but mentally, eternally. You've done this so many times before, haven't you? Started a new plan, new routine, new direction, a new version of yourself. For a few weeks, you feel different, you feel focused, you feel certain, then something shifts. And we're going to speak about that a little bit more. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Anne-Marie Bond. I speak about the rhythm of life and I help people to untangle their minds. And stay and watch the full video because later on you're going to find many tips, I'm sure, that's going to help you shift something within you that's going to enable you to feel better and more purposeful and more progressive into what it is that you're trying to aim for. And so, although we're speaking today of the pattern within you, why you keep feeling like you're restarting your life and you're starting a new plan, a new project, you try to reinvent yourself. And so for a few weeks, as I said earlier, you start to feel different. But when something shifts within you, when that momentum starts to fade because suddenly you feel all, full of vigor that you're going to get something done. And it's like someone going on a weight plan. You'll find me talking about this in nearly every video. But when someone starts a weight plan, some people, not everybody obviously, but they're full of momentum. They've signed up to the program, whether they're doing it online or they've gone to a group, and they're full of vigor. And then slowly and surely the momentum starts to fade after a few days, or when their stomach starts to get hungry for the sugars that they've been so accustomed to. Then their enthusiasm starts to wane, it starts to drop. And then come weigh day, they've had a bit too much snacks and they miss one day, then two, 1 week weigh in, the second week weigh in, etc. But when we look at yourself, you will start to notice that your enthusiasm for life in some way is dropping at the moment. You might still feel like, oh, I've got it together. You might still feel like, well, I know what I want to do out of life. You might feel like I've got a plan ahead of me and this is what I'm going for. And great. Tell who you want to tell that to, but not to me, because I know you and I know what's going on. I know that you want something much deeper than what you're telling everybody. And so while you're telling everyone your business, what you want to achieve, what your goals are, and I keep telling you in all of my videos, stop telling people your business. But while you're out there shouting through the rooftops or, explaining to people what you want to do, you're just feeding other people's desires. You're just feeding other people's feeling inspired by what you're saying. So sharing your ideas of what you want to do, all it's going to do, like sugar, it's going to feed somebody else. They're going to feel really inspired by you. They're going to feel really enthusiastic with what you're sharing. And some, not all, will go off to do it because they just feel, oh, this sounds like a really good idea, which you've given them. And so the idea is you keep wondering to yourself, why do you feel like you keep restarting? It's because you keep telling people your business. Shut up. Don't tell anybody your business. Keep quiet. Sorry, I'm just saying it straight to you right now. I'm not holding anything back. Why would I? At the end of the day, my goal is to help you. My goal is to speak clearly to you so that you can develop that trust that you need in me, that I'm not going to give you any BS. I'm just going to tell you the way it should be. Be quiet. Stop telling people what it is that your plans are. If you want to go and study something, go and study it and tell them the result when you finish. When you got your certificate, post it. When you want to go and do your weight plan, tell them after you've lost a few stone or pounds, whatever, towards the goal that you want. When you want to start something new, you want to get a new job, new career, go and get it and then tell them. But if you keep telling people along the way, what happens is it's going to diminish your enthusiasm. It's only going to diminish the shine of what you're trying to do, because you've told so many people now that where people have become so excited for you, but secretly excited for themselves. So they go off and they try and recreate your idea in their own vision. And you start to see people growing and doing exactly what it is that you said you were going to do. And maybe they just changed the label on the book. That's because you talk too much. Stop it. Stop talking. Just start doing. Because what's going to happen is when your enthusiasm drops, when you miss one day and you start to quietly reset and you're calling yourself, I'm starting afresh. You know, those people on the weight plan, hold my hands up. I'm going to start next week. Today I'm going to have a donut. Not literally, but you know, those people always starting afresh, or they've started a new job, but they don't do what they're supposed to do on the job. And then they go and find another one. And, you know, every month they're in a new job, etc. You know, just making it up right now. But the point being, every time you restart yourself, it's going to cost you a belief. And everybody, I feel, knows someone that wants to lose weight, get healthier. Probably that's the better term. Everybody knows someone that wants to get healthier. But every time they start and they go one day and they 2 days, and by the third day, the motivation's faded, the enthusiasm's waned, then they say to themselves, oh, I'll start next Monday. Oh, I've got a job to do next Monday, or I've got an outing, or I've got this and I've got that. And before long, they're restarting again the following month. So you need to stop doing that. You find out whatever that restart is that you're doing and just stop it. Just stop it. Because each time you stop, a small part of you starts to doubt whether you're ever going to follow through. And the reason you keep restarting isn't because you're lazy. It's identity instability. You keep trying to build a new life without becoming the person who sustains it. That's simply what it is. You keep building goals, but you don't build the systems for those goals. You keep making promises, don't you? And you don't build tolerance for comfort. And when comfort arrives, you interpret it as a failure. I know you do that. You know you do that. So you start to retreat because it's starting to get a bit discomforting now. And you're starting to see yourself as a failure. You shouldn't do that, because I tell you now, you're not a failure. Not so whatsoever are you a failure. But what happens is you restart with an emotion, okay? So you're restarting, thinking to yourself, right, this time round, I'm going to do this. It doesn't have to be for the weight, the health plan. It can be for absolutely anything, right? But whatever it is that you said to yourself you're going to start, that within it has an emotion, and that emotion gives you energy. But let us remember, emotion, like a mood, if you think of, we all can be moody at times, but emotion fades just like moods fade. Your mood changes quite regularly, doesn't it? Due to yourself, your own self-talk, due to other people, external factors, etc. But when it starts to fade, you start to think something is wrong, but there's actually nothing wrong with you. You know, emotion, your mood, wasn't never in place to carry you throughout the entire journey. So you've got the emotion to change careers, you've got the emotion to leave, or you've got the emotion to change something within you. But the emotion isn't meant to carry you the entire way. We hope it is. We call it, some people call it willpower. We like to call it willpower. We like to say that I want to just have some willpower to carry me all the way through. It's not going to do it. And I think the moment you think better than that, you'll realize that although emotion isn't meant to carry you, identity is. Identity. Now, we know that we've covered identity in one of my earlier videos. So if you see yourself as someone who tries, and you see you're someone as a trier, you're always going to restart. Imagine I'm sitting down and you're sitting down, hopefully, and I say to you, can you try to get up? You're going to look at me sideways. What do you mean, try to get up? Do you want me to get up? Or you don't want me to get up? Who tries to get up? For those people who are able, of course. But if you see yourself as someone who just tries, I'm going to try not to eat the cream cake. I'm going to try to go for a walk tomorrow. I'm going to try to have positive self-talk. You know what, my love? You need to restart the video and start watching it again. Because if you see you're someone always restarting, you're always trying. But identity, if you see yourself as someone who finishes, you're going to adjust. You're not going to abandon what it is that you want to do. So the problem isn't that you stop. The problem is that you stop completely, right? So instead of shrinking the commitment, you delete it. So you want to start something, you start it with vigor, you start it with positive emotion. The emotion starts to wane, external factors start to play a point into it. You start to shrink that idea of commitment to it until such point you delete it and say, oh, I'll do it another time. How many times have you heard yourself say, I'll just do it another time? So instead of adapting, you are resetting the entire system, you know, and if you want to be sustainable, you can't just rely on motivation. You have to rely on minimum standards, even on bad days. So even on a bad day, someone going on a weight plan, they just need to say, okay, I'm not going to go for 10 minutes walk. I'm just going to walk for 3 minutes. Whatever your goal is, even if it's something small, have a small win to reach a big goal. So even on bad days, even on the days that you want to eat fast food and you know you're not meant to, even on those days, by making better choices, you will find that actually you don't need another fresh start. You just need continuity. Smaller steps, lower intensity. There I go again, making up words. We know that, we get used to that in all of my videos, don't we, where I choose a word and I just make a different word out of it. But lower intensity, more tolerance. And I want you to ask yourself this question. And the question that I want you to ask yourself is, what would it look like in your life to continue imperfectly having a life where you're not perfect, but you're getting things done? So you're able then to not restart, continue, and the growth may be slower. Isn't that okay? You know, growth isn't built in big resets, it's built in boring consistency. So you don't need to have a new plan. You just need to have a new identity. Isn't that wonderful? An identity changes through repetition, not emotion. And it's something that if you can remember and say to yourself, even on my bad day, if I do something little, you got to study. Maybe you're studying for something and you really don't feel like you've woken up and you really don't feel like it. What would you say to your friend? Wouldn't you encourage them? Or maybe just read a paragraph rather than the whole chapter. And then tomorrow do a little bit more. So it's that continuity that was going to get you through. And so I want to say this to you, and please listen to me very carefully. I believe in you. You got this. My name is Anne Marie Bond, and I'll see you on the next episode.